Hello, everyone. My name is Sheila. I am the business analyst for the Los Angeles Regional Consortium, and today I will be talking about quarterly reporting for LARC projects for spring 2024, which is quickly approaching. It's starting in January. And in this presentation, we will go over the reporting timeline, how to get started. We're going to walk you through all the different aspects of the updated form. And for those of you who have done reporting in the past, you will notice that there are some significant changes. So we're going to be using this training as an opportunity to go through those changes and provide some clear instructions for reporting. Next slide. We'll be asking folks to report on all activities taking place between October 1st and December 31st of 2023. This reporting period starts January 16th and ends February 15th. So this gives you all approximately 1 month to submit your reports. If folks run into any issues or need any assistance or have any questions, they can join our drop-in sessions that are scheduled on January 31st and February 14th. Next slide. So who actually needs to report? Round 6 and round 7 projects need to submit reports. For round 6, you need to submit your final narrative to sort of wrap up the project, since this will be the close of the project. Round 7, you will be reporting on quarter 2, which is reflected in the dates October 1st and December 31st, 2023. So any activities taking place under that period, please report for round 7. Round 8 projects do not need to report at this time. Next slide. So what do you actually need to do to prepare for reporting? To ensure successful reporting, here are some best practices for project leads to help prepare. First, always include reporting deadlines and, more importantly, the stated project goals and objectives in regularly scheduled project meetings. We've created 2 resources for you. One is the project goals and objectives sheet, which includes all of the noted goals, objectives, activities by project that was reported into NOVA. And then secondly, we have the resource repository sheet that includes all supporting documents for each project and for the consortium. Secondly, we want you all to regularly review and update the college partner contacts list. Maintaining recent contacts ensures that the right people get the updates about reporting requirements. There is a college partner contact sheet that we've asked folks to update on a regular basis. So we just ask that we maintain and update this list. Number 3, we encourage folks to review the goals and objectives on a regular basis. This is very much related to point number 1. It's always beneficial to review the project's goals and objectives prior to reporting. So there is a tab in the project's goals and status sheet, which is labeled Quarterly Reporting Guidelines tab, that essentially maps each project's goal and outcome to the different sections that need to be filled out in the reporting form. And I'll explain a little bit later what I mean by that. And then number 4, we want folks to gather supporting documentation earlier rather than later. This will help you in the reporting process. Supporting documents could be anything from attendance sheets for workshops, lists of students placed in jobs, etc. And so we will, once again, we'll go into more detail about what types of supporting documents are needed for different activities. Next slide. So at what level do your project outputs need to be reported? So for example, are your project activities being operationalized on a campus by campus basis, or is your project being operationalized at the regional level where you're convening members of different colleges for a regional activity? And so if it's regional, then the project lead simply just needs to report on behalf of the region. If it's college level, it's a little bit more complicated, but basically the project leads need to notify their college partners to submit reports on behalf of their college that relate back to the regional projects. This is why maintaining the college partner contacts list is crucial. Next slide. So let's begin going through the form. The form is made up of 4 major sections. The first section is basic information about who is filling out the report, what quarter you're reporting for, what round of funding this report pertains to, and whether you're reporting for the region or for your respective college. And then finally, of course, what projects you're reporting on. So I want to pause here a little bit to talk about the different rounds. So you definitely can report on multiple rounds at the same time if they are the same activities carried out from round to round. If there are distinct differences of activities between, let's say, round 6 and round 7 for one project, then I would encourage you to submit this report separately for each round. And there is an FAQ section that I'll go over that details these specificities. All right, next slide. The second section is perhaps the longest section of the report, where you report on the different outputs of activities for your project. This section includes 8 different activity categories in which your project may be engaged. The SWP project goals and status spreadsheet, as I referenced earlier, includes a map of the project activities to the categories in the reporting form, which we will go through in detail later on. But familiarize yourself with that map that's in the project goals and objective spreadsheet, because that will greatly provide a guide for how to fill this out. All right, so next slide. So then we want you all to let us know if you are on track with your budget spending. And then next slide. And then finally, the supporting documents section. So this is where we will ask you to upload any supporting documentation. Next slide. So let's dig in a little bit. We're going back to the activity section. We're going into the details of the activity section. Again, like I said, there are 8 different distinct activities that you can report on. The first is student engagement. Examples of student engagement would be, and of course this is not limited to, but it would include career awareness workshops, preparatory workshops, direct student outreach, job fair attendance, industry certification boot camps, and more. I just want to make a note here that we do not want to include any job placement activities here. There is a job placement section where we will be able to include job placement. Some examples for supporting documents, again, is not limited to these, but just some examples are attendance sheets and lists of events held. Next slide, please. All right, job placement. So examples of job placement activities include placing students in internships, paid and unpaid, full-time or part-time employment. Note that if your job placement of students for this project were made in conjunction with the LA Regional Job Placement Project, please mark 0 in the subsequent sections and make a note of that in the description box. We want you to still click yes for this section, but just don't indicate any numbers, and then just put in the description box that this was done in conjunction with the LA Regional Project, Regional Job Placement Project. And then definitely follow up by ensuring that the job placements are being reported through the LA Regional Job Placement Project. If job placements of students were made outside of the LA Regional Job Placement Project, proceed with reporting the number of job placements in the section in this part of the form. An example of this could look like, I am working on a regional project for creative economy, but I'm working alongside the job developer that's employed by LA Regional Job Placement to make those job placements. So that's an example of collaborating between projects, and I want to make sure that all job placements made for LA Creative Economy gets recorded in the LA Regional Job Placement Project. And if people have any questions or if this is confusing, again, please feel free to just reach out to me. And then some examples of supporting documents to upload. Of course, list of students placed in jobs should include the college, employer, and student ID. That's preferred, but not required by any means. Next slide. All right, so employer engagement. So examples of employer engagement could include, but is not limited to, industry partners participating in regional advisory boards, program development, creating a community of practice, employers participating in providing work-based learning activities. An example of supporting documents to upload here would be list of new industry partners engaged for the project. And the reason why I say new is because we don't want to duplicate any of these names quarter after quarter. Next slide. Okay, so faculty professional development. Examples of faculty professional development could include participating in workshops and trainings, creating a community of practice, participating in curriculum development, and examples of supporting documents could look like the list of professional development events and the list of faculty who attended. Next slide. Pathway alignment. So examples of pathway alignment activities could include articulation agreements, students enrolled in dual enrollment courses. So those would be the examples of the supporting documents you would upload. Next slide. Curriculum development. So in the curriculum development category, this is where we want you to include the progress of ongoing curriculum development related to your project. And we know that curriculum development is a long process. And so we wanted to be able to detail which step we've achieved for the stated programs that we're trying to develop. You may input up to 3 programs at one time. If you want to record progress for more than 3, then I would just encourage you to, once you're done with this form, submit a new form for the project, and then just proceed that way for the curriculum development section of the activities. Examples of supporting documents could be curriculum of record or regional meetings supporting curriculum development. And then the folks that were there to support this process. And then next slide. And then there's a catch-all other activities section. So use this section to include any other relevant information and activities related to your project that's not captured in the other 7 categories. This could be anything from the implementation of a platform, development of facilities, hiring staff for a project, creating a resource hub, so on and so forth. Next slide. So this slide is really a resource for you all. These buttons are all links to all of the documents that I've referenced throughout this entire presentation, and it's all in one place for your convenience. So please save the slide deck as a resource moving forward. So you'll see there's the links to the drop-in sessions, the Zoom links. There's a link to my calendar if you want to schedule time to talk and go through any of your questions, the quarterly reporting form, deadlines, resource repository, and so on and so forth. Next slide. At the end of this slide deck, you'll see that there's a FAQ section, and I will continue to add on to this FAQ question as I begin to interface with you all and see what comes up. But yeah, just, I keep this updated, but just know that this is here as a resource for you. Next slide. And then let's go to the next slide. And then, yeah, feel free to contact myself or the program managers, Judy Fox and Randy Morales. If you have any further questions, we are happy to support you in this process. Before we end, I just wanted to pull up the LARC website to show you where you can actually access the quarterly reporting form. So go to the website, and we'll go to the menu bar. We'll go to our work, and then quarterly reporting form. And that's how you access the form. And then we'll make this slide deck available to you all as well. And yeah, that's it. Thank you so much, everyone.